even though we don't quite have a quorum. We have a lot to do tonight, so I thought maybe, let's see, Meg, we're getting close. We just need 2 more board members. We'll be there. So I thought I would go through some of the non-quorum type issues to get those out of the way. Last meeting, we talked about setting up a criteria for guest speakers to join us. There's Jenny. And David. Okay, we now have a quorum. Excellent. So the speaker criteria is on the website, and basically we want to welcome people who can talk to us about local Lake Oswego issues, and specifically Palisades issues. And so I explained that to Varga. I can't remember his full name, and I think he's going to join us later tonight regarding the healthcare for everyone, the statewide healthcare program that he's promoting. And he understood completely. He was very gracious. So I said he could come to our meeting and speak as a in the public comment phase at the very end. Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Thank you, folks. Thanks, David, for joining us in your car. And so first thing, I'd like to move that we approve the meeting minutes from last meeting. I made a correction on the meeting minutes. It listed Nancy as the vice chair. It's actually Carrie. So I made that change and corrected that Carrie was there and Nancy was there. So I'd like to move that the July 10th meeting minutes as corrected be approved. Is there a second?
Second, Carrie.
That's Carrie. Okay. And all approved, raise your hand. Great. Thanks, Jenny. Any opposed? Done. Thank you. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm happy to welcome Betsy Wasco. Betsy is our guest speaker tonight. Betsy is the secretary for the Old Town Neighborhood Association. And I think Palisades may be the largest or second largest, Betsy, and I'd be willing to bet Old Town must be the smallest.
Right? Old Town is indeed the Rhode Island of neighborhood associations.
But I'll tell you what you lack.
Still beautiful, though. Still beautiful.
You make up for in punch. you and Dareth are right on top of things and involved, and do a great job.
Well, thank you, Chris. That's very kind. Can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let me just practice. Okay, here we go. So thank you. I'm Betsy Wasco. I live in Old Town. I've been on the board in Old Town for 8 years or so. And I also volunteer with the Lake Oswego Sustainability Network. As you know, and I'm here to present tonight in their behalf. As you know, the Lake Oswego Sustainability Network is a community-based nonprofit run by volunteers with the purpose of promoting sustainability in Lake Oswego. So today I'm here to talk about sustainable landscaping. Our mission is to usher in a new era of landscape practices that restore the environment, protect public health, and encourage long-term sustainability, increased biodiversity, and enhanced resilience.
Betsy, do you want to click the green dot in the upper left corner to change that to full screen?
Yes. Thank you so much.
There you go. Okay, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Again, our mission is to usher in a new era of landscape practices because over the years, landscape practices and the landscape industry as a whole have evolved in such a way that we are in direct conflict with these principles, which is unsustainable. Our goals are to accelerate the adoption of sustainable landscaping practices and to eliminate the use of gas-powered landscape equipment. So what is sustainable landscaping? Sustainable landscaping focuses on restoring the environment and promoting long-term sustainability for all plants and animals, including humans, that make up our urban landscapes. It differs from conventional landscaping because it prioritizes the health of the ecosystem rather than aesthetics alone. So why does that matter? To quote Doug Tallamy, professor of entomology and best-selling author, quote, "We are at a critical point of losing so many species from local ecosystems that their ability to produce the oxygen, clean water, flood control, pollination, pest control, carbon storage, etc., that is, the ecosystem services that sustain us, will become seriously compromised." So what are the benefits of sustainable landscapes? Um, uh, Trees and plants will be more likely to thrive. We conserve water. We pay less. We increase and support biodiversity. We stop poisoning ourselves and others in our environment. Commonly used toxic chemicals have been linked to cancer and Parkinson's. We synchronize with the abundant life-affirming processes all around us. So how do we do this? What are the principles of sustainable landscaping? First, it starts with the soil. It's to support healthy soil. And we do that by limiting soil disturbance, by leaving the leaves, so not raking or blowing around planted areas where possible, by minimizing bare soil, keep it covered with a little blanket of plants or compost, support biodiversity by providing varied habitats, eliminate the use of toxic chemicals, and we do all this by leaving the leaves. Leaves provide mulch, and it can reduce soil compaction and erosion while helping to keep weeds at bay and retain moisture in the soil. The decaying leaves add organic matter to the soil, providing nutrients for the microbial communities and improving the structure of the soil. Leaves can be used as nesting material, shelter, and food. For example, many moth and butterfly species rely on leaf litter to keep them warm throughout the winter. One might say leaves are a moth's Palm Desert or Florida. When you leave the leaves in planted areas, you save time, money, and energy, and your garden will thank you. But if you need a power assist for driveways or hardscapes, please consider choosing battery over gas-powered equipment. Why? What's wrong with gas-powered landscape equipment? They produce mayhem. Two-stroke engines only partially, they're dirty. Two-stroke engines only partially combust the mixture of gas and oil, and the rest of the fuel and particulate matter ends up in the air that we breathe. The exhaust contains known carcinogens, including benzene, butadiene, formaldehyde, and can cause all kinds of problems, not just in terms of cancer, but respiratory, cardiovascular, neurological, and reproductive harm as well. There are high levels of this stuff, far worse than secondhand smoke. And we ban that in public places. The emissions and noise pollution harms ecosystems and contributes to the climate crisis. 1 hour of using a gas mower creates the same smog-forming pollution as driving 300 miles. 1 hour of a gas blower is equivalent to driving 1,100 miles. And oh, the noise. Gas leaf blowers are uh, probably the worst of all offenders in terms of noise production. And why is this? It's because they're not just loud, they're low frequency and high decibel. Their noise is significantly louder and travels much farther than their battery counterparts. The noise permeates walls and can negatively impact up to 90 surrounding homes. The decibel levels are at anywhere between 75 and 125 decibels, and that exceeds the maximum safe level set by the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. The noise contributes to hearing loss, high blood pressure, stress, impaired cognitive function, reduced productivity, and sleep disruption. Gas blowers send pollen, mold, animal feces, heavy metals, and chemicals from herbicides, pesticides, brakes in cars kind of shed a little bit sometimes, and that gets blown into the air from the street, and that all finds its way can find its way into our lungs, so into our tissues. People with respiratory or heart disease, diabetics, older adults, children, and pregnant women are at greater risk when breathing polluted air. We should, we believe, consider also, of course, the landscape workers. They're the ones who have the most exposure in most cases, and should they really be expected to endure all that air pollution, noise pollution while taking care of our homes when there's, especially where there's alternatives? Reducing noise and air pollution improves the quality of life for everyone. It's not a zero-sum game. Everyone benefits. So what are the advantages of battery over gas? Battery equipment over gas. It's cleaner. Battery's cleaner than gas. Battery-powered blowers still aerosolize dust, fecal matter, and chemicals, but they don't emit the dangerous fine particulate exhaust we find with two-stroke combustion, and they do not produce volatile organic compounds. Battery is quieter. Instead of 75 to 100 decibels, a battery is 55 to 75 decibels. Instead of adversely impacting up to 90 homes, battery noise adversely impacts up to 6 homes. Keep in mind when talking decibels, the levels are logarithmic, which means each increase of 10 decibels means twice as loud. That means a gas blower at 95 decibels will be 4 times as loud as a battery blower at 75 decibels. Battery equipment is easy to use and maintain with no pull cords, no engine priming, no refueling with gas and oil, no gas cans, no winterizing, and no maintenance. There are some myths about battery equipment. You might hear, for example, landscapers say, I tried them once, they're not powerful enough. But the technology for both equipment and their batteries has improved by leaps and bounds, and they are now equivalent to or better in some cases than their gas counterparts. So if you might want to check for yourself if you're interested in comparisons between leaf blowers or mowers or any kind of landscape equipment, there's online sources such as the American Green Zone Alliance and Consumer Reports. These are independent sources that don't push sales or reviews for companies, I understand. And so they have some good information on their websites if you're interested in comparisons. So one might ask, well, what about the environmental cost of battery production? Well, the only way to not have a negative impact is to either do nothing or switch to rakes and brooms, which is not a feasible option for in many cases. But there is an environmental cost to extraction from mining, but there's also an environmental cost to fossil fuel extraction and also to the emissions from burning them. The big difference between the two is that lithium can be recycled and used over and over, while fossil fuels are burned once and left as harmful pollutants in our air and water. Many believe that many maintain that battery equipment is too expensive. But actually, the return on investment for a commercial battery-powered leaf blower can be as little as 10 and a half months with significant savings over time. It's still too expensive, says the naysayer. Well, the costs of healthcare and wage loss associated with injuries and disease, where gas blower use contributed to that. I mean, those costs eclipse any investment in electric equipment. Ultimately, there's a human cost of inaction.
We're running a little close to time.
Okay, thank you. Almost done. What then should we do? Let's look at what Beverly Hills, California did. They said, while it's important that landscapes are maintained, it is equally important that the gardening work being performed is done in a manner that minimizes the impacts and effects to surrounding neighbors and the environment so that residents and visitors alike can enjoy spending time outdoors. In Beverly Hills, the ban on gas leaf blowers took effect in 1978. In March 2025, the City Council adopted a goal, and that was to develop an operational plan to phase out the use of gas-powered lawn equipment. However, the timing and details of the phase-out in Lake Oswego are uncertain, and it could be upwards of 2 years before implementation begins. So the faster we transition to more sustainable landscaping practices, the sooner we'll all experience the multitude of benefits. So what can we do? If you've hired a landscaper, please consider talking to them, ask them to leave the leaves except on hardscape, ask them to use rakes and brooms whenever possible, ask them to avoid the use of all blowers around plantings, tell them no herbicides or pesticides. If they need power, ask them to use battery instead of gas equipment, buy electric tools, share them with your neighbors and landscapers. Hire a landscaper who doesn't use gas-powered lawn equipment. LOSN has a list. Join our sustainable landscaping team. Ask us for a free yard sign. Get a sign from Xerxes Society, the invertebrate conservation nonprofit. They do great work. Become a certified backyard habitat. They're a wonderful resource to guide you in creating habitat. Learn about regenerative and sustainable landscaping at Oswego Lake Watershed Council's website. Go pesticide free. And finally, consider signing up for our newsletter. I'd like to close with this. We're fortunate to live in Lake Oswego with its abundance of natural areas and beautiful neighborhoods. We invite you to consider how the actions we take as individuals can directly impact the health of our neighborhoods and the community at large, affecting the quality of life we all cherish. We encourage you to take a moment to consider practices that support all members of our community, human and non-human. Let's work together, neighbor to neighbor, for as Lyndon Johnson once said, and I paraphrase, individually we can solve some problems, but together we can solve every problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Any questions or comments from the group?
John has something in the chat.
Elisa?
Oh, I was just clapping. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Betsy.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I just had one comment is that we wrote a blog about it for the newsletter, but the city is doing a survey right now. Is that in conjunction with you folks, with your?
Well, that's really the Sustainability Advisory Board, which is the
Okay.
city board, and they've sent one out for landscapers as well as to individuals. They have two separate surveys.
Yeah, so I contacted Amanda when I saw that. We wrote a post about it and it was highlighted in our newsletter. So
Wonderful, wonderful.
yeah. John has a question. What is the plan to purchase the equipment for homeowners? John.
Oh,
I mean, somebody's got to pay for this, so how are you going to get rid of it?
well, some cities have, for landscapers, have like had subsidies for Washington D.C. for a time had a subsidy. They banned blowers and gave away 3,000 to landscapers for a time. I'm sure that's passed. That was years ago. But there's a lot of different creative solutions to help landscapers with funding. There's Steel has zero interest loans.
I'm not a landscaper. I'm just a homeowner with a lawnmower.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're okay, I apologize. Well,
Good luck. Huh?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say there.
Okay.
You can borrow our electric lawnmower to give it a shot. It's very quiet and nice.
Betsy, I'm curious what in the city's program, have they determined which types of equipment they're going to be pushing electric? In other words, I assume the leaf blowers and the lawnmowers and the string trimmers, but how about chainsaws or chippers or some of the larger equipment that may not be quite, up to the industry for the same as the electrical equipment, lawnmowers and stuff have come a long way.
That's a great question, Chris. And the city hasn't gotten that far yet. Right now, they're just kind of collecting information with a survey, but I'm sure that's going to be one of the questions. There's probably going to be some. I know that other cities that have implemented bans on gas-powered landscape equipment and gas blowers. There are more cities that it seems about 200 have banned gas blowers and some gas lawn equipment. So kudos to Lake Oswego for expanding the scope of a phasing out. I won't call it a ban. Let's call it a phase out because it's unclear like whether there's going to be there's too many unknowns right now, but they just have signaled their intent to encourage a phase out of gas-powered landscape equipment. And that's a great question you ask. I doubt chainsaws would be part of that because I don't know that I think that there's going to be exclusions. If I had to, I don't think it would, but I can't speak for the city on that.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments?
I had a quick question for the leaves. We did that this year, and I have to tell you, everyone has commented on our dirty, ugly leaves that are still in our front yard. I think it's more of an aesthetic thing that people are concerned about. And what can we say? Like, what is the message? And I love your presentation. I'd love to have it. But what is it that we should say when someone's like, are you going to remove those leaves?
Yeah. Jenny, that's a great question. And I would think of saying something like, we find birds beautiful. And if we're going to lose our songbirds, if we keep doing this to our environment and we find worms, we find the worms and insects and all of life beautiful.
Thank you. I'll work on that message. Thank you.
Okay, Betsy, thank you very, very much. Thanks for joining us. And you're welcome to hang on as long as you would like or sign off, whatever you would like.
Oh, thank you. I'll stick around for a little bit.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I mentioned chair report, guest speaker criteria is on the website. It's on the section where you under board meetings, and it lists the kind of generic agenda, and then right below that it gives the criteria for accepting guest speaker requests. Next, just to confirm again, areas 6 and 13 are still open, and a treasurer understudy for John. John has done a great job for us for what, a year and a half now, and he needs an understudy that can come alongside and maybe take on part of the task. And when the date comes for him to move on, then we need to have somebody that's already up to speed with our bank account and reimbursement requests with the city. next September board meeting, the LOSD bond team will be giving a presentation. This is Jenny has helped organize that. Very timely, obviously, because their bond will be on the ballot in November. I may be absent from that meeting. I'll be somewhere between here and Los Angeles in our travel trailer. So that's just depend on Wi-Fi reception at the campsite. Backyard Habitat. Funny you should mention them, Betsy. They requested to speak to our group. Joe Cohen, the Backyard Habitat technician for Lake Oswego. And I think we should allow them. She is the local Lake Oswego representative, and Backyard Habitat collaborates with certain cities, and Lake Oswego is one city that they collaborate with. And so she is our technician. I happen to be a member. It's a great program. You learn a lot. Jenny, you'll learn a lot through that program on why you should let leaves remain in your garden. But so at any rate, unless there's an objection, I think she meets the criteria as a local newsworthy issue. I will invite her to speak. I think October would be the next opportunity. Any comments on that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I
South
support
Shore
it too.
Fire Station update. The city ran a poll, and the poll results were very interesting. First, the city, the people polled were in support of the bond for the new fire station. It was about 54, 56%. So it wasn't an overwhelmingly strong response. But then as people learned more facts about why we need a new fire station at South Shore, then the support level went up. So that taught us a lot about what issues were resonating with voters. The 4 stations are needed for short response times. And one thing that I learned just recently is that, as I think all of you know by now, Lake Oswego, if there's a cardiac arrest call, 2 engines respond. And since all our firefighters are paramedics, that means you get 6 paramedics on a cardiac arrest call. That is very, very rare. One of the consequences of that is that the recovery rate for cardiac arrest in Lake Oswego is twice the national average. So that's just one of the amazing things about our fire department and why we need to have all 4 working in concert. You can imagine if there's a cardiac arrest call in Palisades, well, we'll get South Shore, and we'll also probably get either the Gene Road station or the downtown station. But that means that there are only 2 stations left in town to cover all of the rest of the city. So there has to be the 4 stations. David, did you have a comment?
No, other than
Oh, yeah.
I think that is really that's a wonderful thing to be proud of in our community, that we have that level of response, because I think one of the firefighters mentioned to us that I think they respond to 2 or 3 cardiac arrests per month here in Lake Oswego. So having
Wow.
early response and early interventions definitely saves lives.
My son was on one earlier this week.
Mhm.
Okay. Hazalia, Ken has joined us, and there's an issue right now. I asked Ken to come back. He gave a more detailed presentation on the last board meeting, but I asked him to come tonight to speak to one specific issue, and that is porches. There's a ongoing discussion between Ken and his design team and the planning staff. So I'll turn it over to Ken, and this is more for information.
Okay. Chris, how much time are we going to give with Ken? I'm just curious because I'm looking at my time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll go pretty quick. Community news update, though. We've had the fire department up at the church training for the last month, and that's been real successful. Just wanted to share that. But so I'm going to run through these slides really quick. I know you guys mostly know about the project. An issue that we have, here's the site. It's really deep in landscape. We did that for Betsy. Definitely battery only. Here's one of the courtyards, and around the courtyards are the cottages. So I'm going to talk specifically about the cottages, but a fundamental principle of the cottages is that they face the courtyard, and that courtyard is community space. The private space of a courtyard is obviously the first 10 feet of someone's yard and then their porch. So there's 5 to 7 layers of landscape and then private space until you get to the front door. Just a few images here. Here's a couple porches. Everybody knows what they are. First edition celebrates them. Here's the issue. Our homes have a maximum of 900 square feet. The image on the left in purple is less than 900. And the green is the front porch, which faces the courtyard. The image on the right is just a nice facade. The issue is the city is we think the city is interpreting the code incorrectly from the state, and they're saying we have to count the front porch as living square footage, which I'll be nice about it. We think that's completely wrong. And why would you do that? I know I bought a house on Green Tree, a couple others in Lake Oswego, and I never remember the broker saying, and it has 500 square feet of porch and that's worth X amount, or your garage or basement sometimes. So why they're now doing that, we don't know. I'm going to make this available to Chris that he can give it to you guys, but the state municipal code or model code actually excludes porches, patios, trellises, decks. And then the state, actually, I think they poorly wrote their cottage cluster footprint and they just didn't specify. And so therefore we made our porches lower than 30 inches and our roofs do not support any living space above them, cantilevered or anything. So they're just a porch that's aesthetic and provides access into the home. And then we presented our issue to the state. They have a HAPO, which is, the Housing Accountability and Production Office. They've made a determination that LO is wrong in this. And so we have a meeting this next week with the state, and hopefully the city will join us. But if this becomes a bigger issue, then we're going to appeal that. So the next step for us is that we're going to challenge that through the city manager, the city attorney, and ultimately maybe the city council. What I need is just requesting that maybe Palisades and the community kind of support that, because quite frankly, I don't want to see this. And I know these developers, they're fine people, but they push the code to the minimalists on their facades.
Does everyone know that this picture? These are the cottage clusters built in first edition on 3rd and E Street. And if anyone is curious, they should go up and look at these. They are absolutely horrid. They're little boxes dropped out of a helicopter. Some of them have only a 320, 350 square foot footprint. So this was permitted by code, but this is obviously what we want to avoid.
Yep, definitely.
So
Okay. So Chris, have you written that letter? You did, didn't you? Did you write a letter?
I did. I wrote a long letter citing the state model code and our code and my logical analysis for why I think the porches should not count in the building square footage. The implication is you got a 900 square foot cap, and if you want to have a nice porch of 200 square feet, that means that you have 200 square foot less actual cottage square footage, enclosed square footage. And that's just too small. Folks are looking for something a little bit larger. I mean, these cottages are already tiny, an average of 1,200 square feet. So the impact, if going down the road that the city is pushing of calling a porch part of the building area, really limits the square footage of the cottages, and it just leads to what I think is a bad result. So tonight was just information, but it may come up that we will have a more formal presentation by Ken, and then ask for a P&A consensus and position, which would probably mean another letter and maybe me testifying to City Council and the Planning Commission. Any questions or comments for Ken?
I would just be curious how many permits they've already approved with this like standard and how many, because there's been like a rush of cluster cottages in LO recently, it seems like.
Yeah, I can answer that. From what I know, there's the 2 blocks down that Chris is talking about in first edition. Those layouts were about a 550 square foot footprint. So they never pressed in on this, and they ignored porches, obviously. So they never
Okay.
even got close to the 900 square feet. And why they did that is they added a second story, and then some of them have a basement. So net effect is
Basement.
they have 1,600 square feet, which is the whole essence of a cottage, was to kind of maintain a smaller footprint of or a square footage of about 1,200 square feet. So, but the biggest impact, and I'm not even arguing the livability, the marketability, the sellability. I'm saying, why are you making me tear my porches off? I mean, it just makes an uncovered patio in Oregon just makes 0 sense. I mean, it's just, so it
So-
defies common sense.
There's another project in Hallinan. Is that what you were going to mention?
Yeah, the other one over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And are
they're
they,
small as well.
do they have the same issue with porches?
I do not know that. And
Okay.
the city is concerned about that, the ripple effect. But we're doing a planned unit development, so it's only isolated to our project. So somebody else is going to have to get their approval, you know. So, but they can't interpret the code differently than the state, so they're being more restrictive, and that's kind of the issue, unfortunately. So, but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Chuck?
Yeah, that's a very slippery slope, Ken, for what the city is doing. If you start doing porches, what about the loose standing one of these garden pergolas? You know, that can then be added to. That's absolute nonsense. And what about a garage? We were never. I'm a real estate broker, and you know, so we were never allowed to do that. So I'm not sure where the city is coming off on that. What about a garage? And even Portland with basements, the basement that's unfinished, they put into square footage. I think it's ludicrous doing that. But in any case, this is just my opinion. But that's something we should fight. That's nonsense.
Yeah, well, what's funny is I can attach a trellis to it as big as I want, and they don't count it. I can do a garage detached. I mean, there's other things we can do, to your point. And so I've been facetious with my own team. I go, okay, let's do a trellis. And then when they move in, we sell them a roof cover kit.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, oh, here's your move-in present.
Here's your move-in kit, you know. Kind of silly, you know, or grow plants on it. It helps, but you know, and my mom's buying one of these. I told her this and she goes, yeah, I'm not buying one if you don't put a porch on. I go, I mean, that's the whole point of, so the people are 10 feet away. I mean, they're in your front yard, technically, your neighbors, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everybody. Last thing I have on my chair report is the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. You know, the city set that as a goal earlier this year. It is a goal. The city council determined and directed staff to begin a study. It was written up in the LO review, and the mayor reached out to me to ask for the support of P&A in pushing this goal forward. So I sent out the kind of the highlights or the rationale for lowering the neighborhood streets to 20 miles an hour to the board earlier this week for you folks to look at and consider. But for tonight, so I'm curious if there are questions or thoughts. Ultimately tonight, I want to poll the board and reach a consensus that we can then, or I can take back to the mayor and city council. Chuck.
So this, in my opinion, falls almost square bang into the covered porch arena. I live on Royce Way, and I must tell you, that's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit up here. And you will not believe what some people are doing. I'm not concerned so much for the guy doing 28, but I'm really concerned for the guys doing 40, 45, 50, unbelievable stuff, passing people on the double yellow line. I failed to see how, and I've seen this twice. There was actually a girl now that took a video with her cell phone while driving of a guy passing her. Now everybody's upset with her because she took a video of while driving. But in any case, bottom line is, I would really much rather I understand the 20 mile an hour limit on, like where you live, Chris, your street. You cannot do 25 there safely. It's impossible. That's not. So I would say something like that makes absolute sense. But where there's currently double yellow lines, I fail to see why they want to make it 20. And my reasoning is just, I understand what they say, and you know, it's I take that with a pinch of salt. What the statistics that they gave there, I would much rather see a cop doing some enforcement of the 25 miles an hour and not hope that people are going to police themselves by now all of a sudden making it 20 and think that people are going to drive 20 in dangerous roads. I don't, my belief in humanity is just not that big. You know, it's just one of those things. Give a child a good, you know,
Yeah.
good reason to behave, and he would. He's not just going to go on your word. But in any case, that's my opinion.
Well, you raised an important issue. Let me clarify. The streets in Palisades that they're not talking about reducing to 20 are South Shore, Green Tree, Fernwood, Westview, Overlook, Treetop, Burgess, McVeigh, Stafford, and Royce.
So
So
that's
those
double yellow
streets,
lines.
they're not going to change the current 25 or in some cases 30 or 35 mile an hour speed limit. It's all the other streets other than those that I just listed.
Are we allowed to throw rocks at people that pass people on the yellow line? Or is that sort of frowned upon?
Meg?
He's not even going to answer it.
So are they going to be doing, I couldn't really tell which streets were going to be going down to 20. Like, for example, in our little area, like Marjorie, Colwood, I would love to see those 20 because, you know, there's oftentimes cars parked on both sides and it's just not a safe place. I'm hoping that they're going to prioritize streets that don't have sidewalks where there's no safe place to walk. And I'm hoping that they're going to put some money towards enforcement because as it is now, people don't honor the 25. So what's going to make them honor the 20?
Yeah. So in your neighborhood, Meg, the only streets that they're talking about not changing are Fernwood, Treetop, Overlook, and Green Tree. The streets you mentioned, Marjorie, Koa Wood, all of those are all going to be reduced.
Okay. The one bad thing about Fernwood is that there's absolutely no place to walk on there. So it's like you've got people, there's no side of the street. So I mean that I kind of wish that was going down to 20, but
that's the next street. That's the next. Fernwood is the next phase of sidewalks.
Correct.
After they finish Treetop and what they're working on right now.
I was thinking they put that one off the list from the funded to the unfunded.
Oh, maybe it is. You may be right. Okay, other comments?
I don't think so, Meg.
Oh, okay. I could be wrong. I'll be happy to be wrong.
I'll look when I get back.
Other comments on the 20 mile an hour reduction?
I support it. I thought there were sections of Green Tree included. I'll look at the map again. I thought there was little sections of it included. I was hoping that little section would include my house.
Well, I blew up the map that was in the Lake Oswego Review article. I'm looking at it right now. And the whole length of Green Tree is not changed.
Oh, okay.
David.
Hey, I was just going to comment, you know, so much of Palisades is hilly. And, you know, anytime we're outside and, you know, I look uphill and cars and some of the roads are windy as well. And, you know, I think trying to encourage a 20 mile an hour speed limit, especially for a car that's trying to brake downhill is, you know, reasonable to consider, especially because of the uniqueness of our community with all the hills.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that P&A express support for reducing the neighborhood streets as I just listed to, oh yes, Jenny? Oh, you're voting? Okay. So I'm going to move that P&A express support for the city's plan to reduce the neighborhood streets to 20 miles an hour. Do I have a second? Jenny? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, I think we're unanimous. Excellent. Any opposed?
Just so you know, I have not written a blog post about that, but I will for September.
Okay, you could include the flyer that I sent out to the board that has
Yeah, I will.
the rationale.
Yeah, I will. That was good.
Okay, thank you everyone for indulging me. I'm now done with my chair report. We have a few minutes left. Carrie, Vice Chair.
Okay, I'm gonna just jump in and do my my update for newsletter website and mailing. So I'm gonna share my screen really fast. I'm really hoping this works. I'm not usually on one screen. Okay, so for National Night Out, we decided to do a mailing to support it. So the city pays for 2 mailings a year for every, by the way, Betsy, for every neighborhood association. We always do one for our general in-person meeting in April. And the second one that we opted to do this year was to promote National Night Out. And then we also wrote blog posts on the site to kind of like, hey, register your block. Hey, find your neighborhood party. Hey, send us your pictures. I just did that today. So we've had a series of blog posts as well to support it. And David, thank you for your photos. I'm going to put them up as soon as I get back. So I went and I tallied all our subscribers since May and why they subscribed and then the areas in which they live. So that mailing from the city got us 44 subscribers, and I was stoked because 7 of them are in 13, which is like ghost town to us in general. And so that was exciting. Rob continues. Oh, go
Carrie,
ahead.
I'm going to interrupt. This was
Yeah.
your idea. This was your idea. This is absolute. This is just, that was such a spectacular idea to get, in a sense, to get the city to help pay for increasing our subscriber base. It was a brilliant idea, and it succeeded beyond what I would have imagined. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, because we were trying as a board this year to promote subscribers to our site and to our newsletter, I mean. And so like we thought there was thrown out about like surveys and whatnot, but this seemed to really work. And you know what we're finding is that there's turnover in people and addresses. So I had a bunch of people, or 5 people sign up that use like a address that we had in our system for somebody else, and they're new. They had just moved here. So we just have to remember that, you know, people are moving and leaving Palisades all the time. And this was just it's once a year. It seems like and it's a great event. So so that was a success to keep up maybe in the future. So now I'm going to go and I'm just going to show really quickly. We had a really great August newsletter. So let me just put that up. So 15.5% click rate. So we had 147 unique clicks, which is fantastic. Out of, 99.6% actually received it. And out of that, we had 533 opens. And this is within a day. So all of that generally comes right when we send it out, right? The first 48 hours, 72 hours, and then there's kind of a trickle. But that all news that we do, that main graphic that we kind of give like 5 topics that we've written about is always our #1 click through, it seems like these days. And then traffic is really, traffic is generally second, land use. So everything that we're working on and you folks are reporting back on tends to be really high click rates. Sorry, I'm in a hotel lobby, so you're probably hearing some background noise. As well as the new history section that we've started with Nancy, who Chris brought in. So we're getting some clicks through that. So really great excellent click rates for, and it's August was up by like 3%. So the last thing I'm just going to go through really fast, and I'm really surprised by this every time, but I think it also is just because our yard signs are one of our most popular like reasons why people subscribe, these, that in that mailing that we did. But we do get people, the majority of our searches is organic, so people are literally going and typing Palisades Neighborhood Association in their Google search and getting us, and then email here, this is the newsletter, and they're and then this is a direct. So we have great URL recognition in top pages that are getting clicked on. Hopefully it will load, but everything that you would imagine. Oh no, our blog about the aquatic center opening and our golf course welcome back has gotten clicked through quite a bit of times, but over 6,000 clicks between August or July 11th through August 14th. So that's pretty impressive, everybody. So we just got to continue doing what we're doing. So that's my report.
Good job. Thank you, Carrie. John, treasurer's report.
Okay, so our current balance in our Home Street bank account is $341.39. P&A had exceeded the $1,000 annual limit for reimbursable expenses. So $122.54 was taken out of our account to finalize last year's reimbursements. To date, we've got $83.88 that's been submitted for annual web hosting renewal, but there's a $100 minimum for submitting reimbursement requests to the city. So once additional receipts have been submitted, I'll submit them for reimbursement. The paperwork to add Chris as a signatory to the P&A Home Street Savings Account has been completed and submitted. Chris and I went to the bank today to finalize everything and sign the new documents. So P&A residents are encouraged to donate to our neighborhood association. For information about projected expenses and how to donate, refer to the Get Involved, I Want to Donate page on the Palisades Neighborhood Org website.
Perfect. Thanks, John. Okay, committee reports. Emergency prep, David.
There. Hi, thank you. And so, yeah, I think it was National Night Out was a wonderful way to also to kind of interact with police and fire who showed up at many of these events. And so I think that was another way to kind of get some additional insight on who might be responding in an emergency. Also, we indicated on the newsletter and on the website, thank you, Carrie, related to the Emergency Preparedness Fair. That's next month, September 18. And that's going to be downtown Lake Oswego in the evening from, I believe, 5:30 to 7:30, September 18th. So lots of giveaways, lots of opportunities to interact with local resources for emergency preparedness. So, try to remember and get downtown for the September 18th evening emergency preparedness fair. Thank you.
Yeah, I just made that the feature event on our site too today. So it's up top.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Frederique is not able to join us, but she handled the coordination for National Night Out. We had 8 parties in the Palisades neighborhood, 51 parties citywide, 8 of which were in Palisades. I think that's spectacular. Nancy Sage sent me a quick report, which I can read here. Receipt is still on track to be done by the end of the summer, most likely early October. Lusher application is nearly complete. Have all the pieces in place now, just doing my final review. This is Kira speaking. Also, some of you may know Ivan left the Parks and Rec as the head of Parks and Rec. Jeff Monroe is the interim Director of Parks and Rec while they're conducting a search for a new director. Traffic and Pathway Committee, Rob is unable to be here, but the latest, as I'm told, is that Stafford will be open on September 2nd. I'm sure everyone will be very happy when that finally happens. So it'll be open for traffic through the winter, and then it will close again next April for the second summer of construction, and then open permanently next fall, 2026.
Did you get that date off the county site, Chris?
Where did I get that? I think
I'll go looking for it. I have to update a post. I have to do a post.
Oh, I
so-
got it. I got it. I think it was a county update. It was from it was contained in an email from
Okay.
Rick Cook.
Okay, thank you.
But you're right. Thank you. It would be good to just confirm that before we publish it in a newsletter.
Yeah.
Land use report. Meg?
Right. Of course, I get interrupted right in the middle of that. So Ben and Annalee are, Adams are here, and I was hoping they could spend a few moments to let us know what was going on with the tower on the latest.
Yeah, I think that's fine if they're able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. How do you get the video?
Just talk.
Okay, I'm sorry. Video's not on, but we'll talk real quick. I don't have a ton of updates. We did meet with the superintendent. They are going to get she's requesting an RF reading. She's asking it from Crown Castle. So I'm not totally sure if that's like a conflict of interest since they're the ones that own the tower. I've heard that they can kind of like fluctuate those readings. The tower is not on yet, but construction's still underway. So I'd imagine it's going to be turned on at any point. She had also mentioned that this was a different type of RF. And at first she said it was, what did she say? Ionizing, which was a little concerning to us because that's definitely not healthy. So I went and pulled the permit just to kind of see what, if there was any indication of that in the permit. And I did not see that. It still looked like it was an RF, but it's definitely more powerful. It's considered a macro tower, and whereas the old one was a micro. So when you pull and compare the two different permits of the type of RF radiation, this one's definitely more powerful, and it has another type of frequency that none of the other towers have had either. So again, continuing to be concerning on the health side. And then that's we're kind of just waiting on that information and continuing to ask the school district if they will reconsider, relocating it or buying out the lease, continuing to like explain our concerns. And they, as far as I understand, are also meeting with their legal counsel to see what their options are.
Annalee, is the school district considering moving the antenna out to left field instead of the tower near you?
They haven't made any kind of indication that they're just, as far as I know, they haven't actually like communicated much in terms of what they're thinking. The only thing that I know that I gathered from the superintendent is that she's not a fan of this. And so I just don't know yet. They haven't given us a lot of information in terms of what the options are, what they would do.
And
I'm
So-
sure they need legal counsel.
Yeah, that was kind of the impression. We were at the last school board meeting. That was, when was it? Monday?
Yeah.
Tuesday? And yeah, that's what they said that they were going to do, is meet with their legal counsel.
and anything further with the Stafford?
No, they haven't. We've reached out to them a couple times and have not heard anything back from them.
Okay. Okay. Ben and Annalie, you know Jenny, right? Jenny Cherry, our board member.
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
yeah, Jenny is our liaison with the school district, and our biggest window of opportunity is between now and election day, November.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you could communicate directly with Jenny if you want about if there needs to be another meeting with the school district or something that after, if the bond passes after the 11th, I think the school district would be would be less anxious to sit down and work something out.
Yeah, we actually asked. We submitted written testimony to the school board, and I asked as well if they would consider allocating funds from the school bond to relocate, to mitigate this exposure, either relocate the tower or buy out of a lease. And I sort of explained like the same way you would mitigate asbestos in an old building or lead paint. When you learn that something's not healthy, that we allocate funds to bring things up to speed. They didn't
Mhm.
indicate that they uh, would or would not do that. They are very guarded about what they'll actually say to me.
Well,
Um,
that's a great idea, though.
but
And
yeah,
we
for the same reasons that they, and the lease would allow them, from the language that we looked at, the lease would allow them to move it. They may incur costs to do it, but I don't think that I don't think the overall cost from the research we've done is out of the realm of anything they spend. I mean, I watched them hand wave a $250,000 work order change at Lake Oswego High School with almost no review. So this wouldn't cost that, and I would think that it would make a lot of sense for them to support something like that. They just said they won't publicly call out that thing, but it would fall under like a capital improvement, but they wouldn't specifically call it out. But Dr. Shealy seemed open to that idea, so not sure how we champion that.
Well, we have September and October P&A newsletters that are going to reach 1,900 people in this neighborhood, 940 or so each issue. And those both go out before the election. Jenny, would it be reasonable to raise the question next month? I won't be here. I don't think I'll be here, but when they speak, if you could raise the issue that, gee, we're anxious to support the school bond, and we're anxious to publish what good neighbors the school board is in resolving this issue. We have 2 more issues left before the election to publish that, which I think could make a difference in their bond passing, because it's a tight bond, as I recall, in terms of support.
Yeah, everyone's going to have an issue that impacts them. So if you could send me maybe a little question that we could give to Mary Kay in advance, I think that helps. And then she can be prepared to answer that question.
Okay.
That's a good
Yeah, sure.
idea.
Good. Okay, Elisa has stepped up and taken on Nextdoor.
Yay.
Yeah, so
So this is really wonderful, Elisa. Thank you. What can you share with us tonight? I know that it's just kind of started, but
yeah, so we one of the first things I did was renamed it so it was a little bit more intuitive. It's the Palisades Neighborhood Lake Oswego. Before it was Palisades Neighborhood Assos period. Unless you knew that was how it was, you might have trouble finding it. So I made that change. And then I did 2 posts. I did a post of the newsletter overview that Carrie already talked about, what was in the newsletter. And then I did another post about the meeting we had tonight. And so I'll continue to do posts weekly on what's in the newsletter and what's on our page. And then if any of you are on Nextdoor and you haven't given us a fave, please do so. If you don't know how to do it, I'm happy to help you. Just so that if we start supporting that page and start building traffic to it, we'll get more attention on it. So I'm looking forward to more engagement on that. And then the Community Health and Resiliency Committee, we have our meeting on the 21st this month instead of the 14th. We met at the Water Treatment Center on Wednesday. That was an outing we had together. to learn how that worked. It was really a great tour. I recommend anybody who hasn't done it to do it. You'll feel very proud of our water system after you take the tour. Then on the 21st, we're going to be talking about the scope of our group. We're newly defined, and we've been asked to look at the charter mission and provide input on that. So we'll be doing that next Thursday. That's it.
Is my understanding on Nextdoor correct that their algorithm will put stuff kind of like a website search? It'll put stuff it'll show postings that get a lot of hits or a lot of views, right?
Yeah, so exactly right. So the algorithm works that the more activity you have, the more people you have, the more interest you have, the more attention you get. It's it builds on it. So that's why it's important to like when you see a post. And I saw a couple of you did that. Chris, you and Carrie both did that. And then to fave it. So the more faves we can get, if that means you're following it, so you'll get the posts and then like those posts.
So I would like to encourage every board member, and maybe Lisa, if you could send me a quick email, I'll spread it around to the board. Here's how you do it. You go on Nextdoor, you type in this, and this, and this. I mean, every single post that Elisa puts out, we should all click on the post, open it, read it, heart, like it, share it if we can share it to get us at the very, very top. Because right now, I hear about somebody's missing cat in Selwood, and I'd much rather see Palisades news show up at the top of the list.
Yeah, and I think there's even higher algorithm if you comment on it, you engage with it. So whatever you're comfortable doing.
Okay, write a comment back. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Add something to it.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Chris. I will send you that email, and excited to have that become another way we get people engaged.
Good. Okay, well, you know what? The guest who was going to join us, Valdez Bruno, didn't make it. So maybe if he joins us at a future meeting, he can. Otherwise, there's no non-board member here. I think we're done. Anybody have any closing comments or questions?
No offense to the missing cats in Selwood. Okay.
All right, send me good travel energy. I got to get out of Boston tomorrow at 8.
Oh,
So-
great. Okay, safe travels.
Safe travels. Bye-bye.
Jenny, I messaged you in chat about September's meeting. Just
Okay.
FYI.
And
Okay.
Gary, you're here in September, right?
Yes, that's what I said to Jenny. I'm facilitating the meeting, so I want you to be the boss on how you want it to go.
Perfect. Okay.
And I
Wonderful. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Good meeting. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I noticed we had a guest. Gail, was she here for a particular person? Did you notice that?
I did. I'm not sure why she